Grand Rising and welcome to Sunday Rising with Tai Ma. The intention of Sunday Rising is to plant seeds that expand consciousness as well as offer tools and encouragement for the week ahead. I couldn't even walk from the bed to the bathroom in my small apartment without gasping for air. In hindsight, I now realize how dire my state of health was, and I understand how I could have died. In the moment, though, I did what I could, remained present, and did my best to survive through each breathless spell. I received countless psychic readings from different readers, and they all said pretty much the same thing, that I was returning to where I came from, and that it was the most beautiful place that could be. Again, in hindsight, this beautiful place that they spoke of could have been heaven or the other side, yet none of the readers wanted to straight up tell me that I was going through an exit point. Because I wasn't ready to die, or even ready to conceptualize the end of my physical life, I took what they said literally, and when an incurable asthma attack swept over me, I'd have no choice but to stop, drop, and meditate at any given moment, no matter what else I was doing or who else I was with. When I first started meditating, I'd imagine myself in the most beautiful place I could mentally conjure up, the place that the psychics mentioned in my readings. I'd stay there and milk as much beauty from those mental visuals as possible. In the beginning, it would take an hour to soothe myself into the vibration of where I could breathe again. Eventually, the time it took me to reach that state of being lessened, and it progressed very slowly from 1 hour to 40 minutes to 20 minutes to 10 to 5 to 1, and eventually I had no symptoms of asthma at all. It took a long time for me to get there, though. Months and months on end of not breathing well, of waking up breathless for several hours every night, having to ease myself back into a state of being able to breathe. I remember crying one night and saying to myself, how much longer am I going to have to do this? Is this going to be my entire life? It was very discouraging and exhausting. I realized one day by accident, when I started to cry from exhaustion during an asthma attack, that crying helped me breathe better. I now know that crying relieves grief, which is energetically stored in the lungs, and in fact, one of the pressure points I learned during this time to help me improve my breathing is a point on the wrist, which induces crying for emotional release. One night, as I was meditating my way to better breathing, I felt the essence of Orca Whale come to me. I felt Orca sharing a breathing technique with me. They told me to take as deep of a breath as I could, enough air to take me deep underwater. Once I took a deep breath, they instructed me to push the air out forcefully, and they showed me an image of air exuding from their blowhole. I followed Orca's instructions and practiced the breathing technique. They continued to instruct me by telling me that when I inhale, to connect with all of my grief and negative emotions, and when I exhale forcefully, to imagine myself blowing all of it out of my own blowhole as if I was a whale. Orca also told me I needed to start singing, to sing of what I saw and sing of what I know. Up until this point, I had played the guitar my entire life, but was always embarrassed to sing, and never even wanted to approach the idea. But now that I felt like I was in a state of life or death, if this spirit animal was telling me to sing to improve my breathing, I was definitely going to listen. So I took the breathing exercise and the advice to sing with me into my daily life and began to integrate it immediately. This experience was quite a surprise to me because my entire life up until this point, I had a pretty severe phobia of Orca whale. I grew up in the desert, so it's not like I had to face that fear very often. But when I saw the movie Free Willy, I literally did not want to go swimming in my apartment complex pool. And when I went to SeaWorld, even the Orca whale replicas that were scattered through the park really freaked me out. Around the same time that Orca visited me in meditation, I dreamt that I fell into a tank with an orca, which was, by the way, one of my biggest fears previously. But when the orca approached me, they had the energy of a puppy and lifted me up to the surface of the water and out of the tank. When I woke up from the dream, it felt like my fear of Orca was gone, because all that was left was a memory of a gentle giant puppy that saved me from drowning. After that dream, following Orca's advice and continually welcoming Orca into my life was a lot easier. I realized that the entire time I thought I was afraid of Orca, I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of my voice, and I was afraid to express myself through song. There are some histories that say that Whale is the record keeper, and as an ancient being, they've seen thousands of years of evolution, and they share their wisdom through the songs they sing deep underwater. Do you ever communicate with your spirit animal? What advice or wisdom do they bestow on you? All animals are messengers of Great Spirit, so this week, pay attention to the messages that are brought to you. A quick and simple place to start is when an animal crosses your path in a very distinct way, use the internet to look up the meaning behind that animal's message. Take what resonates and see how that message applies to your current life situation. From this point, you can begin to deepen your sensitivity to the messages that animals bring into your experience. And opening yourself to this communication is a good first step to remembering on a soul level the unity between all living creatures. Have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you again next time on Sunday Rising.